Give it up for Magen Callaghan.
I'm a woman of a certain age, and I'm married to a man 10 years my junior. We are an unlikely yet compatible couple. However, there is an obvious generation gap. When we got married, I wanted to go to Hawaii for our honeymoon, and he wanted to go to Comic-Con. As a result, I now know much more about the X-Men than I ever wanted to. I know that Scott Summers had a son with Jean Grey's evil clone, and that his name is Cable, and he lives 2,000 years in the future, and he uses his mutant powers not for good or evil, but to combat the ever-present legacy virus which rages through his body. Very useful on children. So, in a desperate attempt to hang on to my youth, I have been frequenting the arcade. And my favorite thing to do is to watch people on the Dance Dance Revolution machine, because it shows people at their most vulnerable, when they're dancing. Because, you could be like the baddest, most hard, most sick gangster, walking like, yo, bitches, I got some business to take care of, about to bust a move up in here. Sweet little bumblebee, I know what you want from me. What you got? After a display like that, even I could kick his ass. Like forever. So I'm not your average run-of-the-mill 30-something, what with my child bride and all. And my explanation for this is that I was raised by hippies in the back of a van traversing Europe. This is the cool thing to do in the 70s. I'm showing my age. But hippies don't believe in money, or that it has to be earned, not asked for. And so I've had like 300 different jobs, and one of my favorites was dressing as Raggedy Ann at F.A.O. Schwartz, which, if no one's ever been there, it's a toy store in San Francisco large enough to have human beings as toys. So, now I wasn't doing very well in the romance department back then, but when I was dressed as Raggedy Ann, I drove men wild. Something about the stripy socks and the yarn hair, and they would just like proposition me and send me roses. So, any single ladies in the audience, there's where you've been going wrong. Forget personal stylists, just trip on down to Joann's Fabrics for some yarn hair. Another great way to meet gorgeous men is to be at the center of a brutal accident. I was hit by a car last summer. No. And after I got done hitting the windshield with my shoulder and the ground with my body, I was suddenly surrounded by like half a dozen beefy firefighters, all asking me my name, my phone number, my blood type, if I had any insurance. I was flattered. I'd never had so much male attention in my life, and none of them called the next day. You know who did call? The lady who hit me. Yeah. She wanted me to pay for the windshield that I violently shattered with myself. So, as I mentioned before, I was raised partly in Europe, partly in America, mostly in England, which was convenient since I spoke the language. And you might be asking yourselves, well, where's her accent, And actually, it's still there. It just takes a little coaxing to come out, and by coaxing, I mean alcohol. And for any of you who's like, English-obsessed Anglophiles or anything like that, I just want to let you know that I was much less like the Dame Judi Dench, M from James Bond kind of, this might be hard for a blunt instrument to understand, 007. And I was a bit more Soap from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. See, knives are good because they don't make any noise, and the less noise they make, the more likely we are to use them. So, just as we're clear, no Helena Bonham Carter arty-farty balls me, Speaking of arty-farty, oh wait, no. Sorry, I want to do American accent just because fart sounds funnier in American. Have you ever noticed how like the English and the Americans have like their signature swears? You know, like it sounds so great when an Englishman is going, you know, bollocks, bloody hell, Gordon Bennett. Wow. All those English obsessed Anglophiles going, oh, Gordon Bennett, I haven't heard that one. So I got this and Gordon Bennett, practically English. But, you know, bless the Anglophiles, because they're always correcting my English. I was recently informed that the English don't say Merry Christmas, they say Happy Christmas, to which I answered, fuck off, only a fucking gentry talk like that. But I have to say, I tend to see Americans, they've got the word asshole down. Like, it's so great when an American's going, oh, asshole! You know, I mean, an Englishman never uses it because they sound like such an asshole when they do. Thank you.